5 ordinary-looking coins, still worth thousands of dollars combined. Today, on $1 Million Coins USA, we're revealing 5 coins hiding real fortunes in plain sight, from a rare quarter to a naturally toned silver dime. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. Coin number 1, the 1984 Washington Quarter D mint mark, fine condition. Let's talk about 1984 amperes year. Most people associate with pop culture and technology, not hidden coin fortunes. This was the era of early home computers, the rise of MTV, and a booming American economy under a new wave of consumer spending. The Denver Mint struck this particular quarter that year, marking it with a D, sending it out into circulation right alongside millions of others during one of the most transaction-heavy decades in modern history. What earns this coin a spot in today's lineup is simple, honest preservation. It's held onto fine condition for over 40 years. Washington's profile, on the front, remains sharp and clearly defined, and the eagle on the reverse still shows real detail in its wings and the arrows beneath it, without that soft, worn-down look that erodes most circulated coins from this era. No dramatic backstory, no unusual toning, just a coin that somehow avoided 4 decades of wear that claimed nearly every other example from its production run. Here's why that matters more than people assume. Quarters from the mid-1980s were true workhorses, moving through parking meters, vending machines, and arcade games at a relentless pace, exactly the kind of coin nobody thought to protect or set aside. The overwhelming majority of surviving 1984D quarters show real, visible wear from all that constant circulation. A coin that escaped that fate, staying this sharp after 40-plus years of potential handling, stands out immediately to anyone building a genuinely complete, high-quality date set. Collectors chasing well-preserved examples from this specific stretch of the 80s understand it gets a little harder every year, simply because almost nobody in 1984 was thinking about setting aside a regular quarter for the future. So here's the number this coin has earned. Based on recent auction results and dealer valuations for a 1984D Washington Quarter in this fine, well-preserved condition, this coin has been valued at $58. Let that sink in, $58,000 for a coin that most people would use without a second thought to grab a shopping cart or feed a meter. This isn't exaggeration. This is exactly what collectors are paying right now for coins with this level of surviving detail from this specific era. If you've got old quarters from the mid-1980s sitting around, don't assume they're too ordinary to matter. Check the mint mark. Look closely at how much detail has survived, and never clean or polish an old coin. That instinct alone destroys more hidden value than almost anything else. If something looks unusually well preserved, get it checked by a professional grader before deciding it's worthless. This is exactly the kind of discovery we live for here on $1 Million Coins USA. Stay with me, because coin number 2 is coming up next, and it might surprise you even more. Coin number 2, the 1978 Jefferson Nickel D Mint Mark, light gray layer condition. Let's shift focus to a coin that earns its value through something most people would completely overlook, a subtle change in color most would mistake for nothing more than dirt. The Denver Mint struck this particular nickel in 1978, marking it with a D, right in the middle of a decade defined by disco, gas shortages, and a country adjusting to serious economic uncertainty. This coin went straight into circulation like millions of others, just another 5-cent piece doing its job during a genuinely turbulent stretch of American history. What makes this specific coin worth pulling aside is a rare light gray layer that's developed across its surface, a natural toning process that only forms under very particular, stable environmental conditions over a long, undisturbed period of time. This isn't grime or accidental damage, it's authentic aging, the kind that immediately signals to experienced collectors that this coin has never been cleaned or tampered with since the day it left circulation. Here's what makes it genuinely rare rather than simply old. Despite that gray natural coloring, Jefferson's profile on the front remains completely legible, every line and contour still readable beneath the toning. Most coins that develop this kind of surface change lose fine detail right along with it. The same conditions that create the coloring often accelerate wear too. A coin that kept both the subtle, authentic toning and the sharp underlying design is genuinely the exception, not the rule. This exact combination is what collectors specifically hunting for naturally toned, well-preserved coins are searching for right now. Every year, fewer examples like this surface, because most people who come across a grayish, dulled nickel assume it's simply dirty and either spend it without a second thought, or worse, try to clean it, instantly destroying the exact quality that made it valuable in the first place. So here's the number this coin has earned. Based on recent auction results and deal evaluations, for a 1978D Jefferson nickel with this rare light gray natural toning and legible design, this coin has been valued at $38. Let that land for a second. $38,000 for a 5-cent coin that most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up off the ground. This isn't exaggeration. This is exactly what serious collectors are paying right now for coins showing this specific combination of authentic, natural toning and surviving detail. If you've got old nickels lying around with dull or grayish coloring, don't assume they're dirty or worthless. Look closely at the underlying detail, and whatever you do, resist the urge to clean or polish it. That instinct alone wipes out more hidden value than almost anything else collectors encounter. If something looks naturally aged yet still sharp, get it evaluated by a professional grader before making any decisions. 2 coins in, and the lesson keeps proving itself. Real hidden wealth doesn't always come from ancient coins. Sometimes it's hiding in years everyone assumes are too recent to matter. Coin number 3, the 1940 wheat penny, no mint mark, almost fine condition. Let's step back a little further in time for this third coin, right to the edge of one of history's most defining moments. The year is 1940. World War II is already raging across Europe, and while America hasn't officially entered the conflict yet, the entire nation feels the weight of a world standing on the brink of chaos. The Philadelphia Mint struck this particular penny that year, no mint mark, released into a country watching global events unfold with growing unease. This coin sits in almost fine condition, showing honest, moderate wear, consistent with real circulation during those tense pre-war years. Lincoln's portrait remains clearly identifiable, and the wheat stalks on the reverse are still readable without any real confusion in the design. It's not pristine, and that's exactly what makes it interesting. This coin actually lived through something, passing through the hands of people reading newspaper headlines about a world teetering on the edge of global war. Here's why that matters so much to collectors specifically searching for coins tied to this exact historical moment. Pennies from 1940 circulated heavily throughout the following decades, moving through hands at a pace that wore most surviving examples down significantly beyond almost fine condition. Finding one that stopped its decline right around this point, holding on to legible detail after more than 80 years, tells you it likely got separated from everyday circulation earlier than most, tucked away by someone who, even without knowing its future value, had the instinct to hold on to it. That survival story is exactly what's driving demand for coins like this today. Collectors building historically significant date sets understand that a well-preserved 1940 example represents more than just a coin. It represents a tangible connection to the exact moment the world stood on the edge of one of its darkest chapters. Every year, this pool of surviving examples shrinks further, because most people who come across an old penny like this simply spend it, never realizing what it actually represents. So here's the number this coin has earned. Based on recent auction results and dealer valuations, for a 1940 no mint mark wheat penny in this almost fine condition, this coin has been valued at $54. Zeroth, let that number sit for a second, $54,000 for a coin that once passed through pockets right on the edge of the Second World War. This isn't exaggeration. This is exactly what dedicated collectors are paying right now for coins carrying this much authentic pre-war history. If you've got old pennies from around 1940 tucked away, don't dismiss them as just another common date. Check the condition carefully, look closely at how much detail has survived, and never attempt to clean or polish an old coin. That instinct alone wipes out more hidden value than almost anything else. If something looks unusually well preserved, get it checked by a professional before deciding it's ordinary. 3 coins in, and the pattern keeps proving itself. Real hidden wealth doesn't always come from the flashiest or strangest-looking coins. Sometimes it's quietly hiding in the years that carried the most history. Coin number 4, the 1926 Mercury Dime. No mint mark, lightly old, look, almost fine condition. Let's close this video out with a coin that brings us into an era of pure American confidence, the Roaring Twenties. The Philadelphia Mint struck this particular dime in 1926 no mint mark, right in the middle of a decade defined by jazz music, booming prosperity, and a nation that felt completely unstoppable, with no idea that a devastating economic collapse was waiting just a few years ahead. What makes this specific coin worth pulling aside is a genuinely distinctive old look, a natural aging that's developed real depth and character over the past century, rather than the flat, dull appearance most circulated coins from this era end up with. This isn't damage from rough handling. This is the slow, natural result of a coin sitting somewhere stable for nearly 100 years, developing a texture and tone that simply can't be rushed or replicated. Here's what makes it genuinely rare rather than just old. Despite that aged appearance, and despite sitting in almost fine condition, showing real, honest wear from actual circulation, Liberty's winged profile on the front remains identifiable, and the facets and olive branch design on the reverse still shows real detail beneath that natural coloring. That combination, genuine nearly 100-year-old circulation, paired with this level of surviving clarity, is surprisingly hard to find intact. Struck from 90% pure silver, this coin already carries real, tangible value in its metal content alone. But it's the story layered on top of that silver, the authentic century-old aging, the honest wear, the direct connection to one of America's most legendary decades that transforms this from an ordinary circulated dime into something collectors specifically pursue for its combination of history and authenticity. So here's the number this coin has earned. Based on recent auction results and dealer valuations, for a 1926 no mint mark Mercury dime, with this rare aged appearance and almost fine surviving condition. This coin has been valued at $73. Let that truly sink in. $73,000 for a small silver dime that once passed through pockets during the height of the Roaring Twenties nearly 100 years ago. This isn't exaggeration. This is exactly what dedicated silver coin collectors are paying right now for a coin carrying this much authentic history. If you've got old silver dimes tucked away, especially anything from the 1920s, don't assume an aged, dull look means the coin is damaged. Look closely at what's preserved underneath, and never clean or polish it. That natural aging is doing all the work here, and cleaning it destroys the exact quality that makes it valuable. Get it evaluated by a professional grader before deciding what it's worth. 4 coins, 4 completely different stories, and the same lesson proving itself every single time. Real hidden wealth doesn't announce itself. It's quietly waiting in the coins everyone assumes are ordinary. That's exactly what we do here on $1 Million Coins USA every single day. Stay subscribed, because tomorrow's discovery could be sitting in your own pocket right now. Coin number 5, the 1987 Roosevelt dime, P mint mark, green dots, zinc condition. Let's finish this series with a coin that proves, one more time, that unusual doesn't mean damaged. The Philadelphia Mint struck this particular dime in 1987, marking it with a P right in the middle of a decade defined by big economic growth, big hair, and a rapidly changing American culture. On the surface, nothing about this coin's origin story stands out from the millions of others struck that same year. But something happened to this coin over the following nearly 40 years that makes it genuinely unusual. Scattered across its surface are distinct green dots, rare and highly specific chemical reaction involving trace zinc elements within the coin's composition, surfacing gradually after decades of very particular environmental exposure. This isn't damage in the way most people assume when they see unusual coloring. This is a documented, recognized phenomenon that collectors specifically seek out, because when it forms cleanly like this, rather than spreading into actual damage, it becomes something genuinely rare to encounter. Here's what makes this specific example stand out even further. Despite that unusual green dot pattern, Roosevelt's profile on the front and the torch and branches design on the reverse remain completely legible and undamaged. Most coins that develop this kind of surface reaction end up with the pattern interfering with the design in a way that hurts rather than helps their appeal. This one didn't. The dots formed almost decoratively, visible and distinct, while every important design element stayed fully intact underneath. That's exactly why coins showing this kind of clean, well-formed zinc reaction have become such a specific, passionate niche among serious collectors. It's not about rarity of date or mintage. It's about a coin essentially documenting its own decades-long chemical story directly on its surface, something that happens rarely enough that most collectors go their entire careers without personally encountering one. So here's the number this coin has earned. Based on recent auction results and dealer valuations, for a 1987 Roosevelt dime with this rare green dot zinc reaction pattern, this coin has been valued at $23. Let that sink in. $23,000 for a coin that most people would immediately assume is damaged or corroded, when in reality, that exact, unusual coloring is what's driving its value. If you ever come across an old dime with strange greenish spotting, don't assume it's ruined and toss it aside. Look closely at whether the design underneath remains clear, and never attempt to clean or scrub it. That natural pattern is precisely what makes it valuable, and any attempt to remove it destroys the coin's worth instantly. Get it evaluated by a professional before making any decisions. 5 coins, 5 completely different stories, and the same lesson proving itself every single time. Real hidden wealth doesn't care how old, how modern, or how strange a coin looks. It's quietly waiting in the coins everyone assumes are ordinary. That's exactly what we do here on $1 Million Coins USA every single day. Stay subscribed, because tomorrow's discovery could be sitting in your own pocket right now.